Hi there, so my name is Laura. I'm one of the product managers here at Max Adventure. I look after all of our Spain and Portugal trips, which obviously take in a lot of winter sun destinations, and also destinations further afield like Morocco too. So we've got a number of different trips that are suitable all year round, or certainly up until the end of November, so perfect for winter sun walking. There's a number of different reasons for doing a walking holiday in the winter. I would say one of the main reasons for that is purely down to the weather. During the summer months, walking can get quite uncomfortable in high temperatures. So the winter months in these perfect destinations offer great temperatures. So much cooler for walking, might be slightly cooler at night, but overall offers a perfect experience. Also, the trails are much quieter at that time of year. You don't get the tourists that go during the summer, so the resorts tend to be a lot more peaceful, which makes for a much better walking experience. Also, what better reason to get away from home, away from the horrible rain and clouds and snow sometimes from home, get out to some sunshine and see countries at their best by doing some lovely walking routes. And also you'll have a more cultural experience as well. Sometimes during the peak summer months, it's really difficult to get to some of the kind of attractions due to lots of holidaymakers and tourists that go at that time of year. So if you go during the winter, you'll have a much more kind of cultural experience, get much closer to the sites, make it much more enjoyable. So one of the first countries that we offer as a winter destination is Portugal. Portugal is a beautiful country which offers year-round gorgeous weather. I've just spent a week there myself in October and I've come back with a lovely suntan, which is nice. So yeah, it's a perfect destination for some lovely winter sun walking. One of the tours that we offer there is the Sintra Coastal Trails. So this trip takes in the Sintra and Cascais Natural Park, sorry. That helps you discover the historic delights of Sintra, which is actually a World UNESCO Heritage Site. So it's an area really rich in archaeological heritage, sorry, and also lots of stunning coastal paths as well. So it combines coastal paths and inland trails to make for a really unique experience. You also explore the impressive cork convent of Capuchos. Cork trees are really popular or significant in Portugal, and this convent is actually made, the walls are made from cork trees, so it's a really interesting place to visit. You also get to spend some lovely time in the seaside town of Cascais with its little trio of sandy beaches, perfect for relaxing on. And staying in a lovely restored convent, which is a one-off experience and really adds to the experience there. So we offer this trip all year round. As I say, Portugal has fantastic weather. Even during the winter months, you can expect up to kind of 20. It maybe will get slightly cooler at night, so do pack a jacket. Perfect weather there for winter walking. Another trip that we offer in Portugal is the Rota Vicentina, which we've just recently added to our collection of tours in Portugal. So the Rota Vicentina is actually a kind of network of paths in Portugal. This particular section takes you along the Alentejo coastline, which is just above the Algarve, so north of the Algarve in Portugal, if you're looking at it on a map. Basically, this trail follows the footsteps of Portuguese fishermen along kind of wild fishermen trails to gorgeously rugged beaches, and you wonder how these fishermen actually get down to the cliffs here, because the paths they must take are so narrow and quite scary, but the walking you will do is delightful. So you walk along lovely coastal paths here, staying overnight in cosy, authentic casa-style guest houses, sure to give you a really warm Portuguese welcome. And for bird watching and lots of kind of wildlife as well. In fact, this area is home to lots of white storks that only nest in this particular part of Portugal. So look out for them as you're walking. So perfect way to end the day, just sit back and watch the sunset, and I can guarantee you'll get some gorgeous sunsets there. Sit back, relax, enjoy a glass of vino, perhaps sample some of the green wine, which is common in Portugal, and some really, really tasty seafood as well. Perhaps some gooseneck barnacles if you're feeling really adventurous. So that's Portugal, and we also do Madeira, obviously one of the islands, Portuguese islands. So Madeira is a beautifully lush green island with plenty of kind of flora and fauna. It's actually a very, very exotic destination. So this is somewhere that you can get to, it's very close, so you can get there within kind of a few hours flight. We're completely tropical, a fantastic winter sun destination. We offer. This actually takes you off to quite a lot of different parts of the island, so you kind of hop from the interior to the coastline and explore many different parts of it. You can do some swimming in the natural lava pools in Porto de la Cruz, explore Funchal, which is a really colourful capital of Madeira with lots of cobbled streets and a gorgeous indoor market selling beautiful flowers. And then, of course, following the famous following the famous levadas of Madeira, which are irrigation channels, and they're designed to be walked along in Madeira. So stunning kind of paths will take you through kind of lush vegetation, and it offers just a fantastic walking experience. Also, you get to explore lots of vibrant orchards, birds of paradise, magnolias, azaleas, lots of different wildlife and flowers. So that's also available year-round. And then we also do another trip to Madeira, which focuses on the sunny southwest of the island. So the name kind of says it all. The southwest is the kind of sunniest coast of Madeira. So this tour focuses on that particular coastline. The walks there are slightly easier. So if you're looking for something a wee bit more laid back, a bit more relaxing, then you should come to the southwest coast of Madeira and sample this walk. So again, follow the Levada trails of the Rabakala National Park, which again is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And then again, relax at the end of the day and have a glass of beautiful local wine. And explore Funchal as a visit. So I think we're going to move on to some Spanish trips now.
Yes. So I'm Rachel. I am staying over kind of our European tours, and I'll talk you through our Spanish tours and Canadian trips that are available for the winter. So first of all, we've got walking in La Gomera. This is a really popular trip of ours and available all year round. So available all year round because the Canadian islands have fantastic weather all year, kind of ideal walking temperature, I'd say, if you're going to go in the winter. It's always like a constant spring-like climate. And La Gomera is probably, I think, out of all the trips, we're the most difficult, the more challenging one. It's moderate to strenuous, so if you're wanting to have a more challenging walk over the winter this year, whenever you decide to go, this is probably the one. There are some kind of steep ascents and descents, but going through some amazing landscapes. Lush, it's very green and probably the greenest of the Canary Islands, so it's a really beautiful island to explore, and also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so you're seeing lots of these in all of the trips in the winter. So yeah, you'll be based in San Sebastian and then at the beginning and work your way kind of inland into the mountains, so you'll see some amazing views, and generally just a very beautiful trip. And you'll be staying in some really nice accommodations as well. You've got a Parador Hotel in Sebastian too, so very nice experience. We've also got El Hierro. This one's slightly different. I actually went here last year in November, so my winter holiday last year. This is the furthest west Canary Island. It was known as the end of the world for a long time. It's very secluded island, so I loved it for that reason. It was lovely just to walk around and feel like you were it was great, it was nice. But yeah, this one's a slightly easier trip. You'll see it's easy to moderate. So some of the days you're just kind of walking along the coast, or you could go to a nice lagoon, which was fantastic. And again, lovely weather as well. Sometimes a nice breeze, which was always welcome when you'd been walking. really, really nice islands. Yeah, I definitely recommend it without being too biased. Next, walking in Tenerife. This is actually a drive and hike, so your car hire is included for this trip. So I'd say this is the benefit of this one is it's a bit more flexible. You're going to the north of Tenerife Islands, so away from the kind of busy south coast. And because you've got the car, you can take your time and be a bit more flexible with your walks. One of our colleagues and my manager actually went here last year, really, really enjoyed it, and his photos looked incredible. You get to see the El Teide National Park, so the big volcano there, and again, you're staying in a Parador hotel there. So it's a really, really nice experience staying there, kind of in the middle of the big national park. And all the accommodations looked really nice and kind of charming, very Spanish. And again, this one, as you can see, is a moderate strenuous walk. So a bit more on the challenging side, but as I've said, it's a bit more flexible. So because you've got the car there, you can kind of take it as it goes, see how you feel on the day. So a really good trip in that respect. Next is our cycling trip in Lanzarote. Now, actually, my colleague Emma did this last year. I think she has a blog on it if you want to see more about that, if I remember that correctly. But she loved it. Again, a really great place to go if you want to see those kind of lunar landscapes. There's a national park here called Timanfaya. The photos of it look amazing. So a really nice place to kind of cycle around. Quite difficult as a road cycling, or maybe not difficult, but a challenging holiday. I would say if you're wanting a bit more of a challenge and you like your cycling trips, maybe this could be a really good option for you. And again, you're staying in really nice accommodations. It's kind of 3 and 4 star. So yeah. The Seville and the Sierra Daracina. This is a slightly different holiday because it's twin-centered. You start in the beautiful city of Seville. You've got 2 days there, so you can do as you please, wander around, go to the Alcazar and see the kind of Moorish architecture they have there. It looks absolutely beautiful. From there, you're then transferred to these cottages called Molino Real Alhajar, if I've pronounced that correctly. Again, you're right in the middle of the national park, so it's very beautiful landscapes, quite secluded as well. And from here, you can do some loop walks, some circular walks in there. But again, quite flexible in the sense that they're circular, so you don't need to go on them if you don't feel like it. And you'll see it's an easy to moderate level trip. So again, if you're wanting a relaxing holiday, I'd say this is probably the one to go for. Yeah, you can kind of take it as it goes. So for that reason, this would be a great one if you're going as a family, maybe, you know, or even just as a couple or on a honeymoon or something. A really, really nice trip, and the cottages look absolutely beautiful too. The swimming pool is very relaxing holiday. And Andalusia, personal favourite of mine as well. It's a very, very beautiful part of Spain in the south. Kind of just whitewashed, quaint little villages dotted all over the place. Really beautiful to explore. This one starts and begins in the town of Ronda, which is a beautiful town with a large bridge, and it's almost kind of carved into the rock. It's really, really beautiful. So a lovely place to start and finish your walk. And from there you'll walk kind of in a loop. Some days you'll be walking to your next accommodation, but some days it will be, again, kind of optional circular walk. So again, if you're feeling a bit tired, you just want to relax that day, you've got the option too. And every couple of days there's options too. So if you do want to go on an easier one, there's also that, or there's a available too. So this is a great trip to kind of play around with if you're not sure exactly how difficult a walk you're looking for. And for that reason, it's rated moderate because it's just in the middle. But a very, very beautiful area of Spain.
For the country properly. So on the trips that we do, you travel with a local Berber mountain guide, which in itself is a fantastic experience. You're really getting to experience Morocco in its best form. So our first trip that we offer there is Marrakesh, Essaouira and High Atlas in style. I went out to Morocco myself a few years ago and completely fell in love with it. Marrakesh is just the most amazing, bustling, vibrant city with all its souks, and they call it the Red City, and you can see that just from the colours there. It's such the red dust flying everywhere, and it's just got such an atmosphere about it. It's a fascinating city to explore. So you have a couple of nights there, and then before moving on to Essaouira, which is a gorgeous coastal town in Morocco, which is filled with whitewashed streets, actually quite similar to Spain and somewhere in Andalusia. So kind of whitewashed houses. There's again lots of souks selling local artwork, and kind of local cafes and restaurants line the beach there, which is lovely white sandy beaches, very famous for windsurfing as well. So that's just a bit different. It takes you away from the city. And then you go on to the Casbah de Toubkal in the High Atlas. Now this is a unique mountain hotel, and it's a very luxurious, I wouldn't say it's Riyadh, but it's a very luxurious mountain hotel in the middle of the Atlas Mountains. It's a completely unique experience. You can expect to feel like you're at home there. You're treated so well. When I say luxury, it isn't a luxury hotel in that the facilities are number one. It's just the way you'll be treated. It's a fantastic destination. So from there you do some loop walks around the Atlas Mountains, of course accompanied by your guide. And they'll make sure that you see the very best of the Atlas Mountains, giving you that local knowledge which is so important in these destinations. The joy of it being a guided trip as well is that you do have the flexibility. If you maybe don't want to do some of the route, you can speak to your guide and they might be able to take you a slightly different route as well. So yeah, a great experience just to see that country at its best. You can also, at the end of the day, which is one of the highlights, relax at a private hammam bathhouse in the middle of the mountains, which again, if you can imagine, after a hard day's walking in the Atlas Mountains, is just a perfect way to finish it off. So we offer this trip again year-round, perfect weather, and it is, I would say, kind of graded moderate. So the walking in the Atlas Mountains is fairly challenging, not overly so, but you will enjoy it more if you've done just a little walking before to kind of get the best from it. So also Morocco, we offer a slightly different trip, which is our Magical Morocco Grand Tour. So this is kind of more of a sightseeing tour of Morocco with some walking included as well. So on this trip it starts in the town of Fez and carries on to Marrakesh. And on the way you'll be visiting lots of the kind of highlights of Morocco. So you visit the imperial city of Meknes, which is again a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I think we're trying to tick them all off here. And then on to the sand dunes at Erkchebe, which have this beautiful, almost like red-like colour, kind of red-pink tones. And you actually stay in a really unique location there where you stay in luxury tents and sleep out on the sand dunes under the stars. A fantastic experience. You go on to the Todja Gorge, and then through the kind of hidden Berber villages of the Eureka Valley and Atlas Mountains, where you can do some walking, which we've already talked about on the other Atlas Mountain trip there. And again, this is all with a local guide as well. And I should say, on both of these Morocco trips, you are with your own private guide. So you aren't walking with a group of people, you will have your own private guide. So it means you get to really take your time and experience the country as you want to see it, which is part of the joy of a kind of private guided trip. So you do have some of that independence that you get in self-guided holidays as well. And then you go on to Essaouira as well in this tour, which is spoken about, and obviously visiting the bustling kind of souks and medinas of Fez and Marrakesh as well. So it really takes in all of the highlights of Morocco on a fantastic 2-week long trip, which again we offer year round. So that's a kind of very brief summary of our kind of
Yeah.
winter sun destinations. Obviously, we're kind of here to help if you do have any other questions about them. But just to kind of summarise self-guided adventures and kind of what they're all about, if you haven't been on one before. So basically, the joy of doing a self-guided holiday is, as I've kind of mentioned, you get to go at your own pace and explore these countries in your own time. Especially during the winter, as we've said, the weather is kind of perfect for winter walking, so you can just take your time, enjoy it. You might want to start off earlier in the day so that you're getting back before it's getting too cool at night. But they also give you a great sense of achievement doing a walking holiday self-guided. So follow those route notes with our fantastic maps, and it gives you a great sense of achievement of meeting your final destination at the end of the day. I also truly believe that walking is the best way to kind of discover a country. As you're walking, you get to bump into some really interesting people, chatting to like local farmers, local accommodation owners, people working in the fields. It's all part of the experience of a self-guided holiday. And don't worry, all of our trips, we provide fantastic kind of route notes and maps as well. And most of the time we try to use kind of clearly marked paths and popular trails as well. And if they're not, then your route notes will be very, very detailed, so you don't need to worry even if it isn't a marked path.
So a bit of general information about the trips as well. Obviously, your accommodation is all booked and included by us. Depending on the trip, it can be quite different. As we've gone through some of the trips, you'll be, in Morocco, and we'll be in a Riyadh or something like that. In Spain or Portugal, we've got some really nice, very kind of charming, family-run, privately owned accommodations, or you could be in the four-star Parador Hotel. So lots of lovely accommodations that we use for you. In terms of finding your accommodation, this will be clearly in your route notes how to get there, and also you're going to receive a full accommodation list from us after you've booked, and that will give you clear instruction on how to get there. So don't worry about that, you will find your accommodation. And when you arrive there, you can either have just your name and say Max Adventure, they know who we are, that will be fine, or you will have your accommodation list or sometimes a voucher as well to hand over, but not to worry, they will know who you are. You're also going to receive your pre-departure information pack from us. Again, depending on the trip and what's included with your trip, you might get some maps or route notes, a guidebook perhaps, but you'll be given all of the kind of detailed information that you'll need for pre-departure. For some trips, for example, when I went to El Hierro, I received my kind of maps and the more detailed local information when I got there, which was really great actually, just to get a better understanding of where you were once you were there. So yeah, you'll receive all the stuff that you need before you go. And with most of our trips, your baggage transfer is included as well. So you'll see on the screen there that there is a kind of maximum weight limit usually. Be sensible with what you bring. Don't bring maybe your very expensive laptop with you, because you don't want to be doing work on holiday anyway. But yeah, usually, as you can see, you'll just leave your bag down at the reception, maybe between 8:30 to 9 o'clock before you set off. They will then be picked up and taken to your next accommodation for you, so you don't need to carry it around all day. And you don't need to worry about it. It'll be there by about 5 o'clock usually, at the latest probably I'd say, at your next accommodation for when you get back. So it's perfect. But yeah, you'll see there, just either bring a rucksack, a big kind of rucksack you can get, or they're probably the best ones to bring, and yeah, be sensible with what you bring with you.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, this is just a little bit about what to pack, particularly because it's winter. It can be a bit of a funny thing knowing exactly what to bring if you're going away in the winter, but you're going to the sunshine. What do I bring? So just a little list here of kind of stuff. We've got an ideal size of bag, not too big. Obviously, you'll need a day bag for when you're going out, bring your lunch and things like that in it. But again, you don't want to be straining yourself too much by carrying too much on the walks with you. So yeah, we've got a few things here, good walking boots, something that's got good support, especially if you're going to be going on a trip that's got a lot of ascents and descents. You want to make sure it's boots that you've worn in as well, so they're comfortable for you and you're used to wearing them. And a good point here is evening clothing and shoes, which was something that I did not think about before I went. So I'd go out in my walking boots at night, even though I was so sick fed up of wearing them. So that was something that I didn't really think about, is that kind of casual wear that you'll wear once you're kind of relaxing at the end of the day. And layers, which is a really important thing too, because even though it will be hot, it'll be warm, especially in the Canaries where it's quite windy at times, or as Laura said, at night time it can get quite cold. It's important to bring layers if you're going maybe more inland or into the more mountainous kind of parts. You don't really know what it's going to be like, so we always say be prepared for everything. It's the best way to be. Yeah, first aid kit, blister kit for, I don't know, it's like self-explanatory. If you're walking, have those with you because they will save you. They will be your saviour. And walking poles too, I would recommend anyway. I guess depending on the trip and what you're comfortable with. But I find them really useful when you're going downhill particularly, and if it's somewhere that's maybe quite rocky, it can help you with your balance. But everyone's different, but I think it's always best to bring them just in case, because you're not too sure what it's going to be like until you get there. So I would bring them definitely. Again, waterproofs, your layers, bring some waterproofs because you just never know. And on the other end of the scale there, bring sunscreen. Bring everything. Because even though when I was in El Hierro, it was quite windy, you especially didn't feel the heat on you. And I got sunburned. So I did regret not wearing sunscreen at that point, so definitely bring that. And yeah, bring your snacks and lots of water for the day, because you never know when you're going to be hungry. You don't want to be caught out when you're in a very quiet part and you've got no shops there, so always bring plenty of food with you just in case. And of course lots of water for obvious reasons, keep yourself hydrated. And yeah, flip-flops. I didn't wear flip-flops when I was away, but
good for relaxing.
Yeah, exactly. Relaxing wear.
A lot of the accommodations will have swimming pools sometimes as well for their winter sun, so good for the pool.
Very good point. Yeah, and a bit about health and fitness here before you go. It's always going to be best to get some practice in before you go. It just makes the trip more comfortable, more easy, and more enjoyable at the end of the day if you've had a bit of practice in and you're used to it. And particularly if you don't do a lot of long distance walking, you're going to be walking for a few days in a row, so it's good to just kind of get used to that idea. And as it says here, pace yourself to start and kind of gradually build it in. You don't want to kind of shock yourself by going for a really, really long walk and then think, oh gosh, I actually hated that. That was a bad idea. What have I booked? So kind of start off slowly, practice every now and again, and kind of build it up, and you'll get used to it and you'll become more comfortable with it. On a kind of more serious note here, if you have any medication that you need to bring with you, I mean, that's absolutely fine, but always make sure that you're bringing that in your day bag and not putting that in your luggage that's being transferred to your hotel. And on that note as well, if you are concerned about anything like that, always talk to your doctor. They're the best people to kind of check what's the right thing to do.
So I think we've just got some questions and answers that we quite commonly get asked about our winter sun destinations. So quite often people ask if they can book these trips over Christmas and New Year. The answer to that is quite often, most of the time you can. Just bear in mind that there may be some applicable supplements for the Christmas and New Year time. Quite a lot of the hotels at that time serve gala kind of dinners over Christmas and New Year, so there may be a supplement on your trip just depending on availability. So do just bear that in mind and double check that with us as you're going to book. The best place to walk in January, well, there's lots of places, but I think myself and Rachel probably agree that the Canary Islands, I think, would be the best kind of destination at that time. Southern Spain is also very good, like the Andalusia and Grazalema kind of trips, but I would say Canaries all round have the best sort of weather at that time of year.
It's always going to be warm, reliable.
Most things are kind of open at that time of year, so I would say you don't want to go somewhere that's kind of a bit more shut down. So
Yeah.
the Canary Islands are
It's
probably
like peak
best.
season for the Canaries.
Yeah.
That's great.
Winter weather treks. No, not at the moment. No, possibly in the future. So we might add that in the future, but not at the moment. We do offer Nepal for a long, a kind of further afield destination. So of course, if you're talking about going to destinations, not particularly for winter weather, but obviously the Nepal trips are available at that time of year if you're looking for something a bit more adventurous. So we do Everest Base Camp and the Annapurna Sanctuary trips. If you're looking for something slightly more adventurous and you want to do a challenging trek. What else can you walk in Scotland in winter?
I guess you can, but whether you'd want to. Yeah, I don't know if we actually book anything over for winter.
We wouldn't tend to offer our destinations in Scotland in the winter, and the weather does get pretty bad here, unfortunately.
And it's dark.
It gets dark very early, and as much as it's fantastic to trek in Nepal, where the mountain tops are covered in snow, you tend to still get quite nice weather during the day. In Scotland, it's completely different ballgame, so it's not quite the same in the winter. You need to
recommend it for summer.
Easiest to get to from the UK?
I guess the thing with the Canaries is that apart from maybe Tenerife, you'll fly direct there, but you're always going to have to take a ferry or another flight, so bear that in mind. If you're going to be arriving into Tenerife at 10 o'clock at night, you're going to have to bear in mind that you're getting a ferry after that, so it's not necessarily hard to get to, but I think just as long as you're aware of that when you're booking your trip and thinking about travel logistics. But apart from that, I think they're all
quite accessible. I suppose the Canaries have really good flight connections from most UK airports. Southern Spain's also quite good. It can be a wee bit more difficult during the winter. From the UK as well. In fact, all of our winter sun destinations really are quite easy to get to from the UK. With you've got airports like Malaga and yeah. And so we've just got some final further resources. I hope you've enjoyed today's webinar. If you do have any questions at all, obviously don't hesitate to contact us. But you can also visit the event page, which is at www.maxadventure.com/about-us/events. There's also some information on our very fancy new smartphone app there, which a lot of our routes are now going on to. And there's also lots of information on there about fitness advice, weather links, kind of frequently asked questions, travel information as well. And of course our contact details are all there.
Just phone us.
Give us a phone, we love to chat. Okay, all right. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.